Hey everybody, Jennifer Schaus here, coming to you live today from Washington, D.C., and thanks for joining us in our complimentary webinar series. On Wednesdays, we cover the FAR supplements, and today we're covering Department of Agriculture. You probably found out about our webinar series through our newsletter, which now reaches over 23,000 federal contractors, and we've got over 500 government contracting webinars on our YouTube channel. Those are all available for complimentary download. They're probably easier to find on our website as they're organized there by topic, or you can just hop over to the YouTube channel and subscribe for free and be alerted anytime a new webinar is posted. We do have advertising and sponsorship opportunities in the webinars and newsletter. So if you want to place an ad or be a sponsor in the webinar series, you can send us an email to the hello@jenniferschaus.com email address. And now just a quick blurb about us. We are based in downtown DC and provide consulting services for established government contractors. We work with product, service, and software firms. Some of our services are listed on our website, and most notably, GSA schedule support is our primary service. And so a little bit about the series on Wednesdays on the FAR supplements. This is the federal acquisition regulations, and the supplements cover the various departments and agencies and their contracting nuances. It is a complimentary series. It is recorded, and again, you'll find the recordings on both our YouTube channel and on our website. They're every Wednesday at 12 o'clock, and our speakers are subject matter experts, government contracts attorneys, and accountants. This is the schedule for Wednesday. So the box on your far left are the webinars that we've already covered. And so those recordings are on our website and on the YouTube channel. Today we're covering Department of Agriculture. Next week will be USAID. And the series goes through the end of August 24th, which will be the Veterans Administration. You can sign up for these on our website under the section called FAR Supplements. And then on Fridays, we've got the corresponding playbook. So again, anything that's on the left-hand side in black has already been covered. And this Friday, we'll be covering Department of Agriculture, contracting opportunities, small business bidding opportunities, and procurement trends over the last couple of years. That is also complimentary. If you want to sign up for any of those, you can just go over to our website, navigate to the tab called Playbooks, and the links are all there for the future webinars as well as the ones that have been completed. And now we want to thank our sponsors. First is the Virginia PTAC. This is the Procurement Technical Assistance Center. The Virginia PTAC at George Mason University offers free one-on-one counseling to firms in Virginia on federal, state, and local procurement topics. Online resources and group trainings are free, with no restriction on business location. If you're interested in learning more, please use the links provided to explore what the Procurement Technical Assistance Center can offer. The Federal Business Council, so we want to thank the FBC. They create and manage virtual and in-person meetings and events to connect industry and government. The Federal Business Council works in the form of in-person and virtual conferences, training events, policy dialogue, and outreach. Over the last 40+ years, the Federal Business Council has become a comprehensive resource for connecting industry and the federal government. We also want to thank Daston. Daston is an IT and cloud solutions provider working with corporations, the military, and government agencies to lower their cost, increase scalability, improve operational efficiency, and meet compliance regulations using targeted cloud-based solutions. Daston is a certified partner of Oracle NetSuite, a premier tier Google Cloud partner, and a certified partner of Cisco, Virtue, AO Docs, and Authenticate. For more information about Daston, you can email Joe Alston. His email address is in the lower left-hand corner of your screen, or simply visit the website at daston.com. Okay, and the reason that we're here today is to cover the FAR Department supplement on Department of Agriculture called AGAR, and we are pleased to be joined today by Mark Masters. His firm is Shalita. Hopefully I've got that correct, Mark, on the maybe third try. I'm going to mute myself and turn the floor over to you, and I'll just wait for you to let me know when to advance the slide.
Okay, thanks, Jennifer, and you nailed it, by the way. So congratulations on your Cherokee lesson for the day. And I'm super glad to be here, and thanks for having me. So just a couple quick things before we get started. I just want to throw the caveat out there that I'm by no means a government procurement official or an attorney specializing in government procurement, but do have quite a bit of firsthand experience in dealing with the AGAR and also specifically dealing with doing business and providing services to the USDA. So first off, I did work as a federal employee for about 8 years, and I spent most of that time in the USDA with the USDA Forest Service, and worked in a variety of positions, including as an aerial delivered firefighter for the U.S. Forest Service in the 2001 to 2009 range, and then left and founded Shalita in 2009, and we have held prime federal contracts with the USDA consecutively since 2009 until now. From about 2011 to 2018, we became about the third or maybe fourth largest small business supplier to the USDA Forest Service of wildfire suppression support services nationally. And then beginning in 2018, began a pivot to more consulting and training focus support model, but continue to do work on a more limited basis for the USDA, even to current. So we are an 8A graduate and an SBA hub zone firm, and also a by Indian Act ISB firm, being Cherokee owned. And I like to tell folks that we support military, energy, homeland security, emergency preparedness, and critical infrastructure requirements. So that's just a bit about my background and about the background of my firm. So if you want to bounce on to the next slide, Jennifer, I think we can. So I kind of just wanted to start with the departmental level overview for the folks that may not be as familiar with USDA. USDA has a very, very vast mission set if you're not familiar with it. It ranges from everything to ensuring the integrity of our food supply, to supporting our nation's agricultural producers, to managing many millions of acres of natural resources, both public lands as well as private land support nationally, development, nutrition, and a whole myriad of related issues based on public policy, the best available science, and effective management. So, the USDA, like many of the departments that we service, have a very, very vast mission set. And if you dive into kind of their mission and vision, you'll see that ferreted out with the mention of managing natural resources for conservation, restoring forests, improving watersheds, healthy private working lands, not to mention economic opportunity, supporting rural America to help it thrive. So just a very, very vast mission set around really kind of our food supply, agricultural producers, and natural resources and conservation at the end of the day. So quickly, let's go through an AGAR overview. If you want to go on to the next slide, I think you can, Jennifer. Sorry, these aren't lining up super well for you. It is located in the CFR at Title 48, Chapter 4, and you'll often hear the AGAR referred to just as Chapter 4 by contracting officers. And the purpose of the AGAR is like any of our other departmental level acquisition support documents. It's basically just to augment the FAR and provide further implementation when needed, or further description to the FAR for departmental level and departmental specific acquisitions. And to supplement the FAR when the subject matter is just simply not covered in the FAR, if that makes sense. So the thing to keep in mind, like our other departmental level acquisition documents, is the AGAR is not a standalone document. It is only a supplement to the FAR on any procurement, right? So next slide, if you want to go on down, Jennifer. So, the next thing that I kind of wanted to talk about, if you want to keep on going down, Jennifer, you could skip honestly all the way down to like part 452, because that's mostly what I'm going to talk about in kind of that overview. And you'll see if Jennifer scrolling there, those are simply the subchapters within the AGAR that anyone can go do additional research on. But the part that I really wanted to focus on today was part 452, since that seems to be where most of our involvement with AGAR comes from. So first one that I wanted to cover in part 452 was AGAR 452-209-70. This is a representation by corporations regarding unpaid delinquent tax liability or felony conviction. In recent years, any procurement that we have had with the USDA, this has been incorporated by reference, and we've had to specifically call out and respond to this AGAR clause. And so that is a very common one that you'll see referenced in USDA procurement specifically. Another part 452 AGAR clause that we see in nearly all USDA procurements that we deal with is AGAR 452.209-71, which is also an assurance regarding felony conviction or tax delinquent status for corporate applicants, alternate one. And I know those sound really similar, but there is a slight difference in each of those. But at the end of the day, really what each of those intend to do is ensure that the contractor is explicitly identifying that they do not have any of these criteria that would preclude them from entering into a contract with a USDA agency. Okay. And then kind of the next thing I wanted to go over was some current AGAR updates. So some of you may be familiar with this, but back in February of 2022, so just about a month ago, the USDA issued a proposed rule in the rulemaking process that would add an AGAR clause requiring subcontractors and contractors both to certify as part of a contract award that both the prime contractor, their subcontractors, and their suppliers are complying with all applicable labor laws, which obviously as federal contractors, we always should be applying or complying with all applicable labor laws, right? But the second proposed AGAR provision would require offers for covered contracts to disclose specific violations of labor laws and certify compliance with all previously required corrective actions, presumably through an adjudication process with the contracting officer for these laws, federal and state labor laws, and then also provide regular and ongoing updates on these actions during contract performance through that update process, presumably. Some of you may recall that USDA had a similar rulemaking about a decade ago, and the agency quickly withdrew it. And then some of you may remember the quote unquote blacklisting back in the Obama administration, the requirements. And if you'll recall, those were basically enjoined by a federal court, and then they were withdrawn by the USDA, and they were eventually disapproved by Congress, believe it or not. So, and those requirements were really similar to this proposed rulemaking that just popped up last month from USDA. So, going back to the pursuit of the blacklisting requirements such as fair pay and safe workplaces implementation, we'll have to watch those and we'll see what happens. I think that it's probably likely it will reach the same outcome as before, because there has been some really strong resistance to it in the GovCon community. And I think the main reason for that is the False Claims Act implications. Obviously, as federal contractors, prime or sub, we always want to be compliant with all applicable laws. But I think the hang up here has just been that there could be some False Claims Act implications that could potentially be outside the control of the prime contractor. For example, if they have a supplier that maybe wasn't forthcoming with them about previous labor law violations, whether resolved or not, and then potential false claims act implication with that prime contractor, individuals of that prime contractor for that information, if that makes sense. So opposition to this proposed rulemaking has been really strong in the last month, including from entities such as the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, and the U.S. Chamber of Commerce released a statement just here recently in the last week or two that basically said that the provisions are not supported by any authority, and USDA has provided, no explanation in supporting data or context to justify them. And the biggest concern of a lot of entities, including the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, is that they, could create a significant burden and False Claims Act exposure for companies bidding on or working on USDA contracts. And the chamber, believes that the proposed sections must be withdrawn. So that's kind of a hot topic right now. Contractors, so that's definitely something to keep an eye on. And I think kind of the summation of that is the intent is really good, right? We all want to be compliant with all federal law and local or federal and state labor laws at all times, but maybe the implementation could be a little bit better thought out, I think, is kind of the bottom line there. And we'll just have to watch it and see what happens, see if it gets pulled back in the rulemaking process, or if it goes on, for further legal challenges, because that's a big one that will impact, once again, not just prime contractors with the USDA, but also their subcontractors and suppliers as well. So the next thing, that I wanted to kind of go over was, sorry, I'm kind of bouncing all over the place on you, Jennifer, is just the socioeconomic programs. So in USDA, obviously, there are requirements that targets, just like any other federal department, and that are intended to hit. And even obviously, sometimes we have targets for those socioeconomic set-asides at the agency level as well, including the 8A program, the Hub Zone program, and service disabled, women-owned small business, all those sorts of things. And so the way that the USDA will implement those programs is called out there in 419, and then also I think there's a socioeconomic part as well besides part 419 that really just describes how the department itself will implement those mostly SBA backed socioeconomic programs for set-asides. So if you want to go on down to the bottom, Jennifer, I think that's pretty close to wrapping up. The main thing that I wanted to cover was, the Part 452 requirements, because those are something that sticks out to USDA contractors, and then also just kind of what's been going on the last month or so with this proposed rulemaking.
Okay, Mark, thanks for a nice presentation. Is that all that you're covering today for this one?
Yes, ma'am. Sorry for the short length
Okay.
there. I do it much quicker than expected.
Nope, it's short and sweet and to the point. Thanks, Mark, for your presentation today. We want to thank all the attendees who joined us. We'll have a copy of the presentation later today. It'll be on our YouTube channel and on our website. And again, a special thanks to all of our sponsors who helped make this webinar series possible. So thanks again, Mark. If you guys have questions about the FAR supplement on agriculture, you can contact Mark directly at his contact information. Friday, we're going to be covering business opportunities, contracting trends, and more of the outlook, strategic and tactical outlook for Department of Agriculture on Friday at 12 o'clock. We'll be doing that with our friends over at FedMine. The registration link is on our website. That is also complimentary to attend. And again, thanks everybody for joining us today. And this concludes our webinar.